your place to feel safe and to openly talk about them. These experiences are very real, and it may seem like you're going insane, but you're not. And you are experiencing them, a mixture of the pleasant feelings as well as the unpleasant feelings, and all that is really to be expected based on the losses that you've had. So we'll work on understanding them together and helping you manage them so that hopefully the fear reduces. How does that sound to you?
Yeah, that feels really good.
Okay, well, what we're going to do now is let me walk you through a relaxation exercise before I let you go. You ready? When I hear that, oh, very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, your observations. What was that therapeutic alliance like? What did you notice? Okay, I haven't put you to sleep just yet. Come on. Come on now.
Well,
What was that like?
It allowed her to feel safe and comfortable enough to disclose.
Yes. Yes. Trauma. I had no idea there was trauma behind. I never suspected it because I'm not going to assume what would be there. Right? Beautiful. Beautiful.
You kept offering back what you were hearing from her, like in her words or rephrasing a little bit. It wasn't just one way, but it felt like that expressed like actual understanding. I feel like sometimes if you just say the client's words back, then sometimes it can feel a little parroting. But when there's slight variation, that made me feel at least like you got it.
So with the choice of the trauma, where do you think I was conceptualizing her? What do you think is going through my therapeutic mind? Grief therapy. So what I initially would think would be grief counseling, it now changed, right? The circumstances changed, right? So I know that it's going to take longer to work with her, and that's okay. I'm not going to tell her that, right? But yeah.
I was curious if you're referring to with the abortion as a loss for her, because she didn't necessarily say that. It seemed like a different sort of, she's these very different experiences of sort of the trauma of the rape and then the having to choose, and talk more about shame and about shame around making that what people might think or not knowing, versus in the loss of a wanted child. And then, but you mentioned it as a loss for both, and I didn't know if she felt.
Well, remember that in the first
Yeah.
case scenario, we acknowledged it as a loss. And
Oh
that
no, I
was-
mean the
that was
abortion.
helpful.
I'm sorry, with the abortion.
Oh, the
Yeah.
abortion.
That's what I was wondering, if she saw that as a loss or more of a
Did
traumatic
I say it was
shame.
loss?
You said your losses.
Your losses. Right, so
Yeah.
I didn't label what the multiple losses were. So I'm not assuming that the
That was
abortion
that.
was necessary that, but you know, if she was raped, there's losses involved
Yeah.
there, right? Right, and not telling family members has an impact on the relationship there, which could have led, I mean, there's way more exploration that needs to be done, but yes.
Well, that's the thing too, and often in this, the whole day, there's been a, kind of acknowledging the loss, but not necessarily the loss of something. Then like with families, I'll say the loss of your child, or if they know a name, or
Right,
prepare for the loss of this. But often, and you have to be more general if you don't know, obviously.
right,
But
right.
sometimes try and be more specific, or is there an intentional reason why often you're not?
Okay, so I could have said the loss of your baby girl, definitely, because that's the language that she is giving me. So it was not a change to that, I'm sorry. Yes,
Well, I
definitely.
didn't know if it was intentional, because I was hearing it all day, just hearing
Mhm.
about your loss,
Mhm.
and then wondering if that was an
Right,
intentional
it's
thing.
intentional only because we want to utilize the language that they're using.
Yeah.
So I'm generalizing
Until
in
you
terms
know
of
what
loss,
language they're
but because it could be an it could be,
Yeah.
it could be nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
I've had those experiences with the acknowledgement of it being a baby is not, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm not gonna force it
Or a
on
name
that.
even.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah, we
they-
don't.
So you're being vague, but not because you wouldn't be more specific if you knew. I didn't know if there was an intentional reason to be more.
Yeah, and it also depends on the trusting relationship that you have, because when you become more familiarized with the individual, then you can introduce the idea, have you considered this? Always as an invitation, it can help. It's not a must, but it can help. Have you considered, the gender or naming? Again, it's not a must, because we don't want to impose them feeling like they have to do that in order to heal, because that would be, sabotaging everything that you've done so far. Have you considered?
Would you ever ask them directly, how do you want me to reference?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Particularly if it's not totally clear and,
Right,
you know.
right, right. Or I ask, what do you think you lost? So that I know what language to use with you.
And maybe who's self-selecting to come to me
Mm-hmm.
is people who are clearly, it's a different place, so that might be part of, they're a little bit more specific.
And I think for me, like as a client, that didn't jar anything for me, but if that really didn't resonate with me, and I was like, listen, like you're getting it wrong, like that, like I trust that Sharon would be like, I apologize and thank you so much for pointing that out to me, and let's like tell me more about what that experience was like for you with that abortion, and maybe we can unpack that so I can understand a little bit more about your experience and how that's right.
Right.
But for us to be like really, really aware of any time a client like is like, oh, I don't like, right, like please give me that feedback, and I want to really engage with you and hear kind of how I'm missing your perspective in this and how I can better understand.
Which goes back to why I liked, in the earlier segment, you did that job as the therapist to kind of put that out there and say, if I'm getting it wrong, let me know. You're opening up that door, even for anything high-end.
All right, take your break, come back in 10 minutes so that we can do the last hour and a half and send you home. Okay? Get your sunlight. Do we still have sunlight? There is sunlight. There is. It's only 2:46. We're good.
I just understood you asking what time it was, not how long.
Oh,
I can see it. I can see
Just
it.
let no, I think, yeah, I think I heard, this was.
Not hold off then.
I think if this is gonna be. I think this can be fast, already crossed out a bunch of stuff.
No, because I think that we can still pace it where,
But I think these are so inherently fairly quick.
yeah, because even
Like this is.
right, very good.
Good for me to see how we're doing the work.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna do it the other way, right?
This, I think I'm
The
gonna.
right other way.
Well, then you're having them do it all.
Yeah, they're just doing it.
This morning, like,
Oh.
they did that, so.
It's not listed here.
The summary.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.